Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Cross and I am here with Dixie Andelin Forsyth for a feminine moment. And we've been having some fun with the discussion topics this week on the closed Facebook group. And there's been a post or two about, first of all, some shame or guilt around, when your husband has done something for you and you don't quite appreciate the way it was done, and how do you deal with that? And then secondly, what if you feel that whatever he has done, it's like not done well enough and it's possibly dangerous? And I don't know, Dixie, we just want to kind of discuss. Is that
like the phone you hear ringing in the background? Like, how can I control this? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I should have taken it off the hook, but it's totally gone over there. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting. It's common dilemmas that we all have. And there goes
your man.
Boyfriend. Yeah. Anyway, we are so different than men. They don't think like us. Their brains are not wired like us. I think somebody mentioned, how why doesn't he, if he gets something out, why doesn't he put it back? He's probably like my husband. It does not occur to him.
Right.
He's task oriented. Now, some men do. My father was very careful, kind of OCD, very tidy.
My dad too.
Like that. Not all men are like that. Mm-hmm. In fact, a lot of men.
Don't compare your husband to your dad, number one.
Well, you got to remember, for one thing, if you wish your husband was more like your father, your brother, whoever, you're going to also get the things that aren't so fun about those qualities too. Like my dad was very clean, very careful, always hung his clothes up very tidy. But on the other hand, because of that kind of OCD tendency he had, he also was very kind of what we call in our family a stress ball. He stressed about a lot of things. He was worried. He had ulcers. He was very affectionate. There's all this give and take with that personality, whereas, say, my husband is always in a good mood. He's always optimistic, but he's not so tidy. He's not like me, where he'll.
Can I go back to something you said, and we've said this many, many times in the videos. Yeah, men are task oriented, but I would like to talk about what does that look like, and what does that mean? Because I've talked with you for 6 months or a year. I think I'm finally getting it, where it's not that he's purposely ignoring me. He's purposely ignoring the thing. He honestly doesn't see it because
they don't think the same way, and we get frustrated with them. Their brains are wired different. We think, why can't they see that this is important to me, or why don't they? And frankly, as a woman to woman, people who don't put the toilet paper on the thing, I just think it takes like 2 seconds.
And you're there. You're there anyway.
But on the other hand, I think it takes me 2 seconds too, so I just do it.
Yeah, I never even complain about it.
It's not worth it to die on those kind of hills. And remember, everything we do, there goes my nephew. Everything we do in Fascinating Womanhood is gearing you towards developing this deep, lifelong love affair with your spouse, not hoping he'll be exactly like us and do everything perfectly and do everything we want. And remember, it's kind of embarrassing, but I don't find men complaining about us as much as the way we complain about them. Do you think they accept us more at face value than we do them?
Yes.
And maybe they do. I don't know. There's probably some that don't. But if you want, say, how can I get my husband to do these things? Well, you really can only change yourself, and you can change yourself. You can do something yourself and do it as a free gift. If you need him to help you, you can ask in a childlike way. Simply, children, just say simply, "Dad, can we get a hamburger? I'm hungry." Yeah. They don't say it. "Oh boy, I'm sure hungry. That sure looks good over there." They just simply say it.
Wait. You know what women do? This is what they do. "Hey, hon, would you like to get a coffee?" And he'll say, "No, not really." And then she'll be like, "Fine." But
yeah, it's hinting.
I've seen this.
Men can't help it. They don't get hints like we do. When we talk to other women, we know the code for that. We know what that means. Most of us do anyway. And But men don't, and we expect them to, and then where they're
Very
bewildered, why
unfair.
we're irritated with them. When when you want men to be tidy and clean and put things away, fine, but you really want to die on that hill. I don't,
Mm-mm.
especially since, you know what, you're just going to be frustrated a lot of the time because you cannot make them change. And if you're not careful and you make him your project, you'll find that you're not as close as you were. That wall of reserve is going to be up there. It's going to get a little thicker, and
I think it's, and you had mentioned earlier when we were talking, it's a way of being act of service. You know, Jeff supports our family. I get to do this business at home. We both work from home. I'm constantly cleaning up after he works from home. So, but I just pick it up. I put it away. I mean, it's an act of gratitude for the fact that I get to live in this house with him, and food is, you know, I have.
Well, and just you can change your own attitude. I know this is what I do. You may have something else that you do, but what I do is if I'm ever tempted to be like, critical or something like that, I think, what if this were the last day I saw him? What if he got an accident? How would I feel? Would I wish his shoes or whatever it is were left around? If your husband died, all these things you'd be stuck with yourself anyway. And we want to be women of great character. We all want to be. We want to be loving and supportive. And it's not our job to have our husbands be our project, where we've got to get them to do something. For one thing, when you do that, it means that we're not focusing on ourselves, which we need to. We're not focusing on becoming more accepting on admiration.
It's stop nagging, stop being critical, and just, you know, perhaps you can fix it yourself and help him out. If it's something that you need help with, you ask, just like you said, children ask very directly and in a kind way.
Well, yeah, some things I need help with. I don't know how to do everything, and Bob's not a handyman, and sometimes I'll just have to hire it if we can. Like we just had a plumber here today. He can't do those things, and I don't expect him to be a neuropsychologist and have patience and come home and fix our plumbing.
No.
And he doesn't expect things of me, and he appreciates it when I just take care of some things. And as far as tidiness goes,
well, mention what you did with the garage door.
What?
Mention what you did with the garage door.
Oh, our garage door. We have a keypad there, and it wasn't working. And people sometimes come over when we're gone. Our son and our nephew and stuff, they come over, and that's how they get in. And it wasn't working, and I thought, oh, great, I've got to, because I'm busy with Fascinating Women and trying to get my book done and everything. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I'm going to have to go down to this store. It's way downtown. I thought, I'm just going to, Bob was kind of dreading it. He didn't even tell me. He thought it was going to end up on his plate. So I just went out there and thought, how bad can this be? And I opened it up, and sure, I thought there was going to be some weird little unique battery that I can't buy at the store. Well, there wasn't. It was a battery I actually had, and I changed it and it worked perfectly. He was so grateful. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know that he thought he might have to get stuck with doing it. It was changing a battery. I just took care of it. And it felt good to me to have done something for him. Mm-hmm. When you look at your husband and you think, I love this man. Yeah. I married this man. What do you love about him? And think of it. Think of what you love about him specifically. Do you love his eyes? Do you love his smile? Do you love the way he takes care of you? Do you love his sense of humor? And you can think of all the things you love about him and tell him specifically, make a habit of telling him, these annoyances that we're talking about here, this not being tidy and not learning how to do things our way, they melt into the background.
Well, but this one too was, this man had actually made something for her.
That's true. And she got a lot of support on that. I thought it was a really good post.
I loved that post.
Actually. Yeah, that was good. And I thought, wow, a computer programmer actually built that. That's pretty good for
I think, and what I thought was great was her being real about feeling bad that she felt bad about what he had done, even
Yeah.
though he did offer her the encouragement and thanked him and everything. But in the back of her mind, she's like, oh, I wanted it different. So
Yeah, but yeah, and I thought it was great too that
yeah.
people were really supportive of her, and you could say you know you don't have to be perfect. You can just apologize and move on. Men are usually very forgiving about our
Yeah,
blunders.
forgive yourself. You know, you're human
Yeah.
too, and you know that about yourself. Women are critical creatures in a way. A lot of us are, and we're
But
critical.
we can learn. We can
But we
learn, and
can
that's what we're
learn.
doing.
Exactly.
In Fascinating Womanhood, we are learning to mold ourselves. This isn't about molding other people.
Or perfection.
Yeah. Now, when you're a mother and you've got young children, you really are tasked with teaching those children. And even then, we all know, all of us who have kids know that your kids are all totally different from each other. And you think, where did this one come from? It's not anything like me. You have limited control, but you're tasked with teaching them and expecting them to do certain things, especially at certain ages. But that's only for children. That's not for adults. Any adults. It's not for our husbands. It's not for our parents. It's not for our siblings or our friends. We should accept them. And when we learn to do this, I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I still struggle with it. When you can learn to accept them at face value, which means you don't make them your project. It doesn't mean that you agree with everything they do, everything they believe. It doesn't mean that. It means that you accept, like, oh, okay, Joe leaves the socks on the floor. He's also very kind to me. You accept the whole package. You say, okay.
You had earlier said too, accept, admire, and appreciate, but it's almost more than appreciation. What was it that you had said?
I don't remember.
Okay. Oh well, we probably hit on it already.
Look, think of how you felt when this man asked you.
It's more than inspiring, you know, because
what we're trying to become fascinating women. We're not trying to figure out how to control other people, least of all our husbands. It won't work.
Right.
It won't work. And so if you just allow yourself to give up on that. Now the inspiring part, maybe there's a little bit of misunderstanding about inspiring them. Inspiring them is a byproduct. It's not the goal. Your goal is not to inspire them to do what you want. That's just kind of like saying, how can I make him do something? Inspiring him is becoming something yourself, and they look at that and they are inspired to do something themselves. It's not your goal. It doesn't work.
I love that.
We could talk about if it worked, we'd have something else to talk about, but it absolutely does not. It has never worked. And so let's just give up and work on ourselves, which we could do it all day long, and it's perfectly appropriate.
Yeah.
We can become everybody out there, when you are able to do this, when you look at his strengths or anybody's, and if you have trouble, imagine, I wonder how that person feels in that situation. How would I feel if I was even trying to empathize like that? When you do these things, they will love you for it. All people will. People are dying, and not literally, of course, they're dying to be accepted, to be loved for who they are.
Men especially, I think.
Men especially, they're starving for admiration. They're starving for sympathetic understanding, and we can give it to them. We know how. Sometimes we haven't really been taught. This feminist thing has kind of gummed everything up, as far as I'm concerned. But it's taught us to be kind of like, oh man, they're kind of.
To offer the sympathetic understanding, you have to let your own vulnerability down. You have to be vulnerable, and it's so hard for women. I know, raised the way I was, and which is a lot of our audience.
When the day, and I was raised with Fascinating Women, and so maybe I arrived at it a little quicker than some, but the day that I realized with my husband's socks, and I thought, okay, what can I do here? I don't want to injure my relationship with him. I thought, I can do this. I can do this as a gift. I'm not even going to tell him about it. That's a true gift when you don't say, hey, I'm going to do this for you. Then you're asking for a compliment. Thank you. Expect nothing. And when I did that and I tried it, the burden of that anxiety was completely gone. And I took on this task. I thought, I'm going to do this for him. He won't even know it. It's an expression of how much I love him and how much I think I actually get to be married to this guy. So when I did that, I was free. I was free, and you can be free too. And it's not hard. It really isn't hard. Once you try it, when you do it, give these free gifts, and work as you work on yourself. If you're married to a good man, basically good man who's not perfect, you'll be surprised how much he will. I did not expect Bob to stop throwing his socks on the floor. I really didn't. He just did, and I still don't know how that happened.
All right, well, let's end it there. You've said some really insightful things. What a great video. Thank you so much, Dixie, for your time.
You're welcome.
We have more questions.
I appreciate everybody. Keep the questions. We're here to try and help. So.
Yes, so everybody like, comment, and share. And especially if you're commenting on this video in the closed group, comment about ways that you're going to change to influence or inspire your husband, and let it go. Let it go. That's kind of been
You'll inspire him by being an amazing woman, not by some technique or tactic, by being an amazing, fascinating woman. That's how you'll inspire.
Beautiful. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.